Not yet, not right now. We have to start. So there is.
How many panelists?
So you have Baba Price here. Yeah, I have that. It's okay. I mean, so we'll start with with the first. See.
Everyone, please, we're sorry that we have some attention right now. Thank you.
Either is fine. If you guys want to see it.
If we are just getting
Okay, yeah. Let's, should we just sit here? Yeah. Okay. We're missing one. Who's that? They don't know. Baba Park.
Should we have our own mics or will we just I think let's start.
We're good to start.
Yeah. Make sure to turn on and then wait a second to
Two people. Yeah. Well, I don't know. He's on.
we'll be watching ourselves.
Very good posture. So you're still working on the laptop.
They're the anti-charity.
Maybe we should. Yeah, we should move to the center. Oh, we'll be fine. We start. Okay. Maybe we can go aside. Okay. Hi everyone. Take a couple of minutes before I start. Pleasure to be with all of you here. Is that okay?
What mic are you using?
It's two. You want more? Okay.
Perfect. Thanks.
Pleasure to be with all of you here today. I'm Sushmita Shekhar. I'm an urban consultant. I work with national governments across the world in India, China, Russia, Middle East, a lot of the US, to really help them with their 2030, 2040 visions. And I'm very, very passionate about young people really being change makers in cities. So I'm also board member of Asia Initiatives, which is a grassroots organization where we work with youth in India, Ghana, Taiwan, really to build up life skills and improve their engagement with national and local governments. And today we have with us two incredible young people who've been change makers in their own national governments and cities. So we'll kickstart the panel on meaningful youth participation in national levels by introducing our panelists here. So maybe we can start with Leah.
Yeah.
You can say something about yourself and where are you from and the work you do.
Am I audible to everyone? Yeah. Well, my name is Leah Wiese. I'm from the Netherlands, and I am an ambassador of Hope XXL, which is an organization, youth-led, started in 2008, and we strive for everyone to rate their life with an 8 out of 10, for everyone to get a decent life. And together with people all over the world, we've created a vision on how to get there, and we've implemented different projects both in the region where I live, the Lemers, and just in the entire Netherlands. And from that perspective, I can kind of see.
Wonderful, that's inspiring. And our second speaker here is Matej. So I hope I said it right, but go for it. Where are you from and what exactly do you work on?
Hello, everyone. My name is Matej. I'm from the Czech Republic. Currently, I work at the cabinet of the Ministry of Education in the Czech Republic, and I focus there on the youth policy primarily. I began with the youth participation and support of the youth participation when I was at high school. Then I stopped for a bit with the policy making. I studied, and then now in the Ministry of Education, I came back to the topic. So I'm trying to support youth from my role there.
That's great. It's wonderful to see young people really with their national governments, because recently I read a UN report that said that we are 1.8 billion youth, right, between the age of 16 to 24, but only 2% to 2.5% of youth around the world under the age of 30 are engaged in their own parliaments. And this number is so skewed when you compare to the large number of people in the parliaments. And we're expecting youth to be the future leaders. They are the future inhabitants of the city, and we have such less representation. So I'm grateful to you guys to really be supporting your governments at the national level. So maybe the first question I would start with, how are you empowering young people in your states? How are you motivating them to be a part of this national change? Maybe we start with you.
Yeah. One of the important things for Hope XXL has always been listening and dialogue. We always want to connect with people through dialogue, not through conflict. And that means that we give young people a place to speak and we take them seriously. So I am just as valuable as our director in the city. My say is just as important as other people. And that motivates me because I've been to places where I'm just a box, where I'm just ticking a box. Okay, you're here, you're young people, that's enough, we're doing our best. But I found that in Hope XXL, there's really been listening to me. And that's what's really motivating. And we listen to people's wants and needs. So for me, that may be speaking up about what I believe in. And for other people, that may be showing up to a regional tournament that we've organized and giving people some lemonade. That is participating too. So it can be on all levels. And it's important that we listen to people. And I think once we listen, we can motivate them. And that's really important.
Wow. Yeah, I think listening is one of the tools that are super, super powerful. And like youth and listening to youth, because youth today have so much knowledge and they're so engaged in different things around the world. So listening is such an important point that you bring across. And I'll hand over to Matej. What do you think?
I feel that young people have it sort of naturally in themselves to be participative, to try to change the world. The thing I feel is the most motivational on this national level to help young people participate is actually to hear what they need and to react upon that. Because I feel that sometimes young people express their opinions and the politicians may hear it, but they do not necessarily act upon it. And I think, feeling heard and feeling that
really act upon them, in a radical manner. So I want to also understand, what are some of the significant barriers that you guys face as youth working at national level or working in your own country? Maybe we can switch over to start of that. I'll come back to you.
For me, when I was in high school, I tried to participate on the regional level and then on national level. The main barrier for me was that there were significantly less platforms to express my opinions and to be heard, actually, which right now I'm trying to change from my point of view in the cabinet of minister. I'm trying to actually reach out to the young people and ask them the questions about what they want to change, how they want to change it. And I think the proactive approach from the state, from the national level, from the politicians is necessary. And it can sort of overcome the barriers because the barriers are there. We have many strategies that should help overcoming the barriers, but the strategies do not necessarily, or the politicians or the officers at the state don't necessarily know about the strategies, and they do not act upon them directly. So maybe just trying to talk to the politicians, talk to the officers, motivate them, reach out to young people proactively and trying to hear them is the key.
That's great. And are there any specific programs that are implemented at the national level?
Right now, this year, we implemented in the Czech Republic at our ministry a panel of youth, which is leading advisory panel for the new strategy of youth that we are creating. And yes, we try to include all spectrums of the society, the young society. Be heard.
That's great. Yeah, I would hand over.
Well, obviously being heard and the young people is really important, but we have that as a foundation. We've gathered those people. So speaking from a foundation point of view, and this is something that probably resonates with all foundations, money is a big barrier. We have started a new program in 2018 called Civil Service, where young people volunteer and they can do different projects. It's really incredible to see them working together with the elderly or communities that don't always have a light shining on them. So we have people taking walks with people around with a wheelchair. We have baking pancakes for the elderly, creating bingo night. Young people do that, so we can create a connection. And we have those ideas. We have the young people, and we're excited to do it. We just need the money, and that's just a barrier.
And to follow up on that, what are the ways and mechanisms of fundraising that you have been following? Because I know for nonprofits, that's a huge milestone to really fundraise.
Yeah.
And what are some of the methods?
Yeah, we have an incredible director who always knows how to take out those lines, and we always say he smells money. He knows where it is. So there's a lot of subsidies coming from European. So the European Union always does a lot of things where we can give a pitch. I've recently given a pitch to talk about things that we do. So that's really important. Also, reaching out to nonprofits that you think might be interesting, or other organizations that might be interested or have some overlap with your organization is really important. And that's something that we always try to do, and just reach out. The worst they can say is no, so just go for it.
That's very insightful. Yeah, I would hand it over to you if you have a few thoughts.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on that. I feel that not only for young people is money the problem, also for the government, I guess, sometimes. And not only money, but also capacity. And I feel that sometimes we as young people wanting to participate rely too much on the state support and on the public support in general. What I feel that the right path is not only relying on the public sphere, but also trying to reach out to private donors. As in the Czech Republic we are currently doing, we are trying to communicate with private donors, supporting foundations, helping people participate. So I think private money is also the key for quality participation.
That's insightful because, I mean, even our organization, we depend on a lot of CSR funds to really run it. And it is challenging because to get CSR funding, you need to raise a lot of reports. You need to be very quantitative in terms of like what you're achieving. But it's great that you guys have, great insights. You've been, even with the challenge of funding, being able to do such impactful things. Next, I kind of want to pivot to young people are so good with technology, right? So how do you think technology and social media are really facilitating young people in engaging at national and local level? I don't know who wants to go first, but if you want to take it.
Yeah, sure. Well, it helps a lot. I guess not only in the way that we can participate by commenting on social media of certain politicians or officers, we can also use the technology to actually connect with young people from peripheries, which is the key also. Because participation for me is not only like giving space to people who have the resources to participate, but especially to them who do not have the resources, and the digital technology helps with that.
That's great. And I think you brought up a very important point of bringing diverse people and bringing that diversity into, participation. And I would hand it over to you and hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I can actually give an example of that. We use social media a lot. I mean, we're a youth organization, so we're gonna have to use social media. Currently, we're seeking for veterans to also start a new project with to create connections with people, and it's really great to do those kind of things through social media. Just, do you know any veterans? Do you think they might be interesting? But also to keep people posted of the things that we do. There's currently a documentary being made about Finland by 3 girls. That's really interesting. So it's about keeping people posted and reaching out. That's mostly how we use.
And what are the social media channels that you use?
I would say Instagram, because young people. We have Facebook too, but we don't use. I personally don't look at it that much. But yeah, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of those really.
I like what kind of social media platforms that
Well,
you use?
I don't know. I use Instagram mostly, but I feel that I'm pretty old right now because many new social media exist that I don't use, and I probably never will. But for me, it is Instagram right now. Facebook, I guess. Also, when I was thinking about using technology for participation, I also thought about my friend who has a startup or it's an NGO actually, that actually creates a space to debate about different topics, and in using the technology, young people can tell different opinions on different topics, and then the technology sort of finds a common ground on different topics. So I think this is also maybe a future for creating a space to debate and trying to find common ground between different arguments.
Right. That's very valid. And apart from technology, what other innovative approaches do you think helps motivate youth today to participate at the national and global levels?
Well, what helps them participate? I think, as I said, reaching out, but also when we were trying to create the panel in the ministry, we were really trying to include a diverse spectrum of young society, and to make this happen, we needed to really reach out to all corners of our little nation, but even though it's very difficult, and tell them what actually is the aim, what they are supposed to do, because this is really crucial so that they know that there is an outcome, that this is only a panel maybe someone else is doing, just take photos and then, do nothing, that there is a real aim, there is supposedly a result of their participation, and really we needed to try to explain to them during the process of selection what are our expectations, what should they expect, where are we heading. And this is really important for the young people to know before they participate, because if they don't know that, then maybe that it can end up also being not that innovative, not that helpful, and then perhaps the young people, if they do not see the result of their participation, that maybe also can lead to frustration. And yeah, is also pretty dangerous for us, because then we have young people who are frustrated with what they are doing, and they can be like, toxic ambassadors for what they are doing. We don't want that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you brought about, really setting expectations with what the role is and like what you would engage with. But I wanted to understand, what were your motivations or what were your expectations when you stepped into this role as a young youth?
Well, I always wanted to help the society with the best I can do. That's why I work for actually the state and not the private sector right now. And my motivation primarily was to be on top of what we are doing in our nation, in the Republic. I wanted to be there actually, and to be able to change the rules that I think are less helpful to be more helpful. So I think, yeah, my primary motivation was to be there and be able to change things directly. And yeah, I think also this is the core motivation of pretty much everyone who wants to participate.
Sure, I think that's insightful, because what you brought about is a very strong point, like that real motivation to, steer wheels within your own country. It's hard, and I'm great that you're challenging and you're doing that. I would hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I absolutely agree. For me personally, I come from the region of the Lemurs, which is where Hope was founded. And it's as old as I am. So growing up, I always saw projects from Hope XXL. So I saw signs, I saw them talking to people, I saw Science in the Park, I saw them doing new projects. And I thought that is so interesting. Those people actually do something. They actually try to make the world a better place. And that's what really motivated me to go and join them. I mean, to see that effect really on a local level, yeah, that really inspired me to be a part of it. So creating a better world, and seeing that really motivated.
Right, and I think that's a great thing, like really seeing actionable items, and like seeing actions are, I think, one of the testers, right, of seeing, how successful like the organization is, and really creating that dialogue and engagement with the youth. I think maybe if you guys could share specific project examples where you've seen yourself engage or your organizations engage in really, uplifting the youth in some of them. So,
yeah, there's many different examples, especially with civil citizen life. We've done a lot. Our big books with all the things we've done. We've spoken at festivals and dialogue with people. That's where young people come. You need to go to dialogue. And we've talked to them, what's important to you? How could you make your life better? Really, that dialogue. We have, in 2012, we've set up a debating competition in the Netherlands, discussing the points that we made in our vision, and helping youth have a place to involve themselves with speaking and dialogue. And that's really incredible. I mean, I myself participated in it. It's the biggest debating competition in the Netherlands. And seeing that influence that it has on people, currently there are people in the government in the Netherlands on some of the highest positions that have participated in our debating competition. And that is so cool to see that. I think that's a really good example of how we can influence and things that it has done for young people.
That's great. And are these debates more intergenerational? Like, do we have all ages participating, or is it more like young people and,
We call it On the Way to the House of Commons because it's a House of Commons style. And it's young people. It's informal, which really invites them. It's about what is on the news right now, but it is judged by older people. And it is judged by those in the regional government. So it's a connection to the government that we make with these kids. And that's also really important. That's, I think, why it works.
That's an exciting example. I'd love to watch it sometime, and I'll ask you.
I feel these debating competitions are really good. I also participated in one or two, or that. But I think that also what also works is these UN simulations, which are also like pretty widespread. They're an interesting way how to like approach the topic of policy making, even though it's like a simulation mostly. But what I feel works in our country as well, and what we are trying to support, are the regional youth parliaments. They are led by youth, but usually they are, like, when I was younger, they didn't work that good, but right now they do. And I think creating a space in the country where these youth-led parliaments are heard is really necessary, because the parliaments are usually connected to the regional politicians and they can hear it. So it creates sort of a lobbying space for youth to actually make their voice heard. And I think creating this lobbying space for youth is really necessary. Because if we don't create this space as a youth, the state or the public sphere usually is not the first entity to help us with. So the youth needs to be the one who will make the first move, I think.
That's great. I think you brought about a very interesting point of really global and local participation, right? To have all of you here from different parts of the world really be so engaged is fantastic. And, and I feel like we are global citizens, because for every problem, there's a solution somewhere across the world. And what we need is the idea of like sharing these solutions, right? And these are great platforms to really like share and engage. But I would love to introduce our third panelist today, Babakar. Maybe you could say a few words about what you do and where are you from?
Yeah, of course. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the introduction. Good morning to everybody. Good morning to my co-panelists. It's an honor and a privilege to be here to attend the International Youth Conference. And as usual, I congratulate the team for the wonderful works to involve young people and enhance them in decision-making process. And this is the example of platform that you were talking about. My name is Babakar Diop Jr. I was a UNDP Youth Program Manager for 2 years in Senegal, working youth policy with our government. And after that, I have been special advisor on youth policy with the government. And right now, I'm the chairman of Africa Leaders Factory Initiative, which is an organization that will empower young people, connect them to opportunities, and give them the necessary tools for them to drive and change in their local communities. Thank you.
That's wonderful to hear. Maybe you could share a few programs that you're engaged in that directly works with you.
Yeah, definitely. In Africa, we have active young people who really want to change, and they are not waiting governments to involve them to drive change. Surely, each person, the people in general, no matter where they live, what they look like, their social status, they are doing by their own with creativity, with solidarity, with compassion. Some projects that they think that will benefit the social community. For example, why I create Alfie is because one day I was going to school and I met my former classmate in college. So she dropped out of school because he cannot afford to continue school. So he was, what we call mason, like people who participate like a labor to construct house, to build a house. So that's what he was doing, earning, literally $2, $3 a day. And that shaped me. And that's crazy. He dropped out of school because he wanted to earn money and sacrifice himself to give his sister and his brothers the chance to go to school. And I was really moved by that. And I say, look, what's your passion? What's your talent? He said, I love mechanics. I love everything related to mechanics. I said, guess what? I will build an organization called Alfie, and we will give education to young people based on their talents, not based on the system of education that took people 20 years for them to be the people that they want to be. So we need really to restructure. We need really to think outside the box. We need to refresh the system. And that's why young people are here. Young people are here to reform. We cannot keep continuing the way we're doing since 1945, after the Second World War. It's not possible. It's not the same context. So definitely, if they don't give us what I do believe, the power, we're going to take it by our own. We create our own youth council. We involve in the parliament. That's what we're doing. We give them tool and we create a fellowship. And Paul Kagame was so happy about our work because the first beneficiary named Rambia Hussein was elected as among the best young entrepreneurs in East Africa. And at that moment, I was 21 years old. And Obama gave me a scholarship to go to Kansas State to learn civic leadership and give these people like the chance to know what civic engagement means, because you can never be a patriot if you don't know what civic engagement means. So that's really important to give them the tools, to give them the framework, to give them the platform so that they can fully fulfill their potential.
Wow, that's perfect. I think what you really highlighted is skill training and more like vocational skill training, which is very, very critical because I think youth around the world have so much indigenous knowledge, have so much skills, and just our education system does not really provide a very holistic experience. So really supporting this specialized vocational skill training is so critical. But I would like to switch it over and see how governments can really support youth. And instead of just tokenizing them into like policy making, right? Often when we see youth are just added in, in a way of tokenizing, right? But how can governments really make a committed effort to engage youth? And yeah, maybe any of the panelists who are.
Oh, okay, thank you. And by the way, I'm really proud of what my country, where I come from, Senegal, did this year. We elected the youngest president.
Wow.
So it's historical, and inspire all the countries. Bashir, His Excellency Bashir Diomaye Faye, he's a young person. He has been in the village. He believed with his party about the project, and they share it with the population and they embrace it, mostly the youth, and the youth demonstrate their power and they electing him as the youngest president. That's an example, one. And second, right now, for example, in Senegal, with the context of change, driving by young leaders, now we have a framework where young leaders say, wow, that's the power that we have. Now, knowing that the environment is shaping, knowing that the environment is changed, now we have really, like they call it cleaning. We have to clean the parliament right now. There's so many old people, like sometimes talking things that is really disconnected to the reality of what young people face, of our elders face, of entrepreneurs face. And don't forget that we have the youngest population in the world, 70% of the population, less than 25%. That's amazing. And these young people, most of them are entrepreneurs. They are not waiting the government to fund them, but they create opportunities by their own to find the funds necessary to create employment. So definitely, young people can get into parliament. That's the first step. If we want to change, we cannot have to wait the policy that we want to be like a realization, like to be a reality. We have to go and jump into to the parliament. That's why I am really encouraging what some of our folks doing, like the Cheikh Anta Diop University, is among the top universities in Africa. We have seen young people, like for example, Abdoulaye Touré. Right now, he said he want to run for office, for example, to be to be a deputy, to represent, for example, students. You can do stuff like that. So I want to represent my village in the parliament. I want to represent climate change, works that is need to advance on the agenda and stuff like that. And that's the one. And the second too, advisory board is really important. Even like you young people, they have not sometimes where the government, they can like really constitute by their own advisory board where they can talk about policy, create think tank, create discussion like the OIC. When we propose program, we propose report, we give reports, we propose agenda, and we invite with other organizations to work together. And I think it's really important. like having a platform and also make sure that we are on the table, and for that we have to take it and not to wait for it.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, we always keep talking about bringing youth to decision-making tables, and you shared a fantastic example where youth are already there and making significant changes. Mate, if you have a few words on it.
Yeah, sure. I feel, and I totally understand it. Yeah, I agree with you. But from my point of view, young people don't usually want to go to politics straight away after school because they're afraid. I understand that because politics can be dangerous. And that's why we need to create platforms for them, not necessarily political ones, but as I said before, advisory ones possibly, where they can express their opinions. Young people are usually very innovative, so I think these innovative ideas need to be heard by the politicians, and not necessarily in parliament, but maybe at these advisory platforms that the government may introduce. I would be grateful if young people would go to parliament more. I understand that it's not that usual, not that easy. So these platforms, creating platforms proactively by the state, may be the solution for that.
For sure, yeah, I think it's very, very bureaucratic to be there. So really providing that support system and that encouragement for youth, to be there and to even learn all the processes, right, at a young age is fantastic. Leah, if you have a few thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think another really important thing of that is speak the language of the youth. You can be this really elitist group that speaks in all this jargon, and no one will ever understand you. You want young people to understand them, speak their language, understand them, work with them, Don't go sit around in your highest chamber looking down on them. Calm down, talk to them, bring that dialogue, and don't just make them, like we talked about today, be a token, let them have responsibility. Because young people can be with responsibilities. This idea that we can't is idiotic, stupid. We can do with responsibility. So give us some responsibility. That makes us feel seen too and makes us feel motivated too. So I think those 2 points are really important.
That's great. I mean, it's not just youth, but I feel there should be a more intergenerational participation moving forward. I wanted to kind of hear your thoughts on it. Like, how do we bring this intergenerational systems in our government where, the old, the young, or active? And maybe we could have all the 3 panelists reflect on it.
Yeah, it's actually the intergenerational conversation is a key. Actually, we are trying to build on that, and it was actually also in PACT that was approved today this week. We are trying to act on that in the youth strategy we are creating because we feel that not only the young voice should be heard, but all voices should be heard. We are not like as young people, we tend sometimes to think that only the voice of the youth is the most important because we are the future. It is, but I think it's necessary to keep in mind that there are more people living in the state, and they need to be heard too. And what works best is if we are trying to create a platform where there can be found a common ground between the youth voices, the innovative ones, and the voices of the more experienced people who bring sort of their life experience, and we should be able to find a common ground between those 2 groups of people.
That's great. Yeah, and I would love to hear your reflections on it.
Hope XXL has always been called a coalition of young and old, and that's what we are. We're not just a young group, and we sometimes talk to everyone is equal. I bring something new to the table, and the experts and the educators, all of those people bring something to the table too. I can bring my passion, my enthusiasm, my idealism, and they can bring their wisdom. And understanding that I'm not just here to learn, they're here to learn as well. I think when you can really have that intergenerational relationship, because it's a relationship, you're equal. That's something I think we've always emphasized with our foundation.
That's fantastic because we come with a lot of people, but we also need a lot of mentorship as young people. And that's where the intergenerationality comes, where we can get that support and wisdom to really achieve it. And I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, she really portrayed that very, very well. We're here to learn as well. Like, we want the people come and learn from us too, because it's really important. Without that intergenerational connections, I mean, we cannot achieve the sustainable development goals. Because in the framework, for example, UNDP, that I really appreciate is the beneficiary of all our program and projects are our partners. So definitely it's really important from both sides to work together and trying to involve everybody, no matter their social status, no matter where they come from, what they look like. It's really important to avoid discrimination and barrier, and also social economic, if we do on this thing with elders and the young people, because youth is just a state of mind, you know. I hear one of our elders come to us when we're doing, some hold up, say, "Oh, I'm a young too." I say, "Yeah, of course, you young, you young and pretty." So yeah, let's think about outside the box and make sure it's inclusive and there's no barrier, and we leave anyone's opinion without judging them.
That's great. I think you brought up an important point of bringing marginalized communities, bringing people of different socioeconomic status into engaging a dialogue. So wonderful comments. And now maybe I would open it up to the audience for a few questions. We have some hands there. Okay, you will be giving the mic. Okay. We can have the gentleman out there who's raising hands. Yeah.
My name is Prosper from Ghana. So like you all mentioned, young people want to cause change, right? Everybody wants to do something in their country that brings change. I just want to find out from you. I realize that most of the time when the young people start to do something, it's political activity. Okay, so I probably see something wrong in my country. I start to work on it on my own, and then the politicians affiliate themselves to it. And when that happens, sometimes it distorts the entire growth, the progress of the project. So I want to ask you, you've had experiences like that, how have you done?
Who wants to go first? Mateo?
Yeah, I can begin with that. The question is if it really hurts the project or the idea. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe sometimes it can help also the political affiliation. And the key is to answer is if we are actually aware of what the political affiliation of the project of our idea can bring, because it can be two-sided. And from my point of view, if it helps and if actually we can achieve the aim of what we want to achieve, even though there is a politician who is affiliated with that maybe is for me good enough, because I achieved what I wanted, even though there is a politician affiliated to it. But from what I've experienced, not every, like in my projects when I was doing them at high school, for example, not many politicians wanted to affiliate with anything actually, because they just didn't care. They were just, okay, so do your projects, we don't care. And when they're big enough, then maybe they tend to affiliate with it, but you are the face of the project, you did it, and if you stand with what you built and what you build upon, then I think it's good enough, isn't it? Because you achieved what you wanted to achieve, and people will see it.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing I just want to add is like, for example, I experienced the same thing when I was in our Capital Satisfaction, and you will experience one moment when the project's doing very well, making the outcomes that you're looking for, everything aligned with SDGs, and making noises. You will see politicians, they have like a trend to try to catch your project, to try to take out your project. And it's something that we see in Africa much more, and it's sometimes really for young people to understand when you have an organization, you have not to make it like political organizations.
Do you have any thoughts on
Yeah, I mean, just keep going. Our mission is going straight to aid, and we've given this statue to our prime minister. You feel like, well, you're on the agenda now, but we're not there yet. We haven't achieved an aid for everyone. So that doesn't. It's good that a politician has taken it, but we're just going to keep going. It doesn't mean a lot to us. We're just going to keep going.
going and keep your eyes on the prize. We'll take another question. Maybe let's take it from here, the young women right here.
I'm a high schooler, and I was just wondering, as someone in high school who doesn't have much access to the same resources as adults might have, like relations to, like within government, do you think that it's actually effective as young people to write to our politicians and government and demand change versus just doing community service ourselves to work towards change on a local level? And can you share any stories where you think this was effective?
Yeah, I'm a high schooler as well, so I think I can answer this. It's two things you're talking about. It's what makes impact. Do we make impact when we talk to politicians, or do we make impact when we've just cooked a meal together with young people for older people and helped our community? And honestly, I don't have the answer. Both is really impactful. We write to politicians all the time. We just send a message to our prime minister from the Netherlands in the hopes that he would respond. Did he respond? No, but we tried. And maybe if he did, then we would have made an impact. So try both. And community, working for your community is often overlooked. And that makes a lot of impact too on a personal level. Yeah, just try to do both. Both are really important. So that's what I would say.
I would just add on that because I see from the other view, many people are writing to the ministry I work for, many young people, but when they are writing alone, like a sole institution, a sole young person who wants to express his or her opinion, it usually is not heard. And that's why I was talking before about lobbying and creating the space for lobbying, creating structures for lobbying as young people, creating the panels, for example, because when young people are together expressing their opinions, the politicians usually tend to hear it and maybe offer them a session with them, talk about it, about the problem. Because when you are alone, usually you are not heard, but that's not only for young people, that's for everyone. Like you create like a lobbyist platform, for example, or a movement, and you are not alone, then the politician will hear them. So that may be my advice. Like if you have something to express, try to find more people with the same opinion, then come to the politician.
I think it's a critical point of bringing a community together, right? We can maybe, or if you have any thoughts,
just advice, we the people that giving power, we the people that giving meaning by our participations. And if we're not happy when something really like the way it is, we just organize ourselves with the community and do something. Is everybody where it starts. You see, Obama was talking that and say, look, when I was seeing some things like I did not really appreciate, or the community don't really appreciate, we go and organize. And today, and he was the president of the United States. So definitely, small actions can do like global impact. So never forget that your small action can inspire a next generation and generation. So just jump on it, and you can make it the community.
Fantastic. If you can pass on the mic to the women right behind. Yeah. Sorry, I can see you.
Yeah. I just wish to compliment that lady. Yeah. Who asked the question? Yeah. I can't remember the name. Yes, nice to meet you. I'm Rafaela. I'm coming from Armenia. As a youth delegate, to participate here, to share ideas, my vision, to hear the others, to learn with you, and from you. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for your speeches. My question is that the following. You talk about the intergenerational inclusiveness, engaging youth and other people. What do you mean with other people? More people. You said more people. We need more. So you said more people need to be heard too. If not heard, but my contradiction is like, if they're not heard as good, they won't become more people. So from the kindergarten, from the even from the families, from the schools, we need to be heard because we experience life in every step. So in every step, we experience history, we experience experience, and we learn, we have practices, and if we are heard in every step, then you won't have questions because you have solutions in your life. Now we have come together, we are kind of not complaining, but saying, oh, we are not heard. I'm indigenous, the other one is coming from South Africa, I'm coming from tiny Armenia, that is conflicts, land misuse and everything, genocide, other things, but I'm not complaining because I'm living this day. I'm the one to take the change. I'm the one to be the change. And it's all about inclusivity. I'm trying to be a humanist, to work with you, together with all the people around the world. Because that's I work at the UN to tell the truth and I carry the values. Like people, human is in the center of all the. This is my vision. So you have to interact. You have to. My favorite goal is 17 because it's partnership. If there is no partnership, we can't do anything. We can still complain here, there. Hear me. I need a voice. I need a stage. I need to be a speaker. But action. We need action, and it should be together. It should be partnership. It should be cooperation. Yeah. This was me, and my suggestion is like if you could be in your countries, you could establish youth parties. Why not? We have political parties, but as youth, we can make movements, youth movements, and then we can suggest governments to have a clear one tiny room in their whole spaces, mansions, like the youth center. Like let's call it a movement or something else. And then create youth parties so that our voices can be heard on the political level. Because I'm making policies for UNCCC, but my voice is sometimes not heard. And I have the questions and the boundaries and the challenges in my local office. I'm traveling all the way around. So
Thank you.
keep
Thank
strong, be yourself and act together.
Thank you for sharing such insightful. Maybe do we have time for another question, or are we running one more question? Okay, maybe gentleman right here in front with the. You can go, the brown coat.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Sheku Kamara, and I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa. And I see a lot of problems with our discussions because I feel like there is a disconnect between what we aim to achieve and how we're going about it. He started off by saying that the current structures does not represent the context within which we are trying to operate. What we have is a system that rewarded people who want the Second World War. All of what we are fighting for revolves around solving the problems of the world. But then it goes to the table of few people who have to make the main decision. And we talk about intergenerational change. For me, what I think is we should have the right, first of all, try to offset the system. That's the biggest gift we can give to the next generation. It doesn't represent it. We're global. We're human. Indigenous people are sharing stories that I resonate with them so much. I wanted to share my story. But to address the problem for me, I think we should now speak to ourselves as leaders tomorrow. We need the right type of education so that when we get the power, remember, yes, power is fluid, it's diverse, but true power lies in politics, unfortunately. I have a political science background. And so, because the state has the legitimate authority to use force, and that's where power is. And so politicians will tell you, oh, we've heard you, we'll make policy about that. But we will be there, one way or another. So let's educate ourselves the right way, the problems we need to solve. And then when we get solved, so it takes values, strong ones, the ones we stand by today, and the ones we dream to achieve. That's my contribution. He was first.
I think we're running out of time, but we will have many more panels today where we can hear from all of us here. It's wonderful seeing all of you here and seeing, young decision makers, young change makers who will be on decision-making tables tomorrow or already on decision-making tables. You all have such an inspiring voice, and I would love to thank our panelists today for sharing and doing what you do. Keep inspiring people. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Oh. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
We're on there.
You don't want to be in the picture.
Yeah.
Thank you. Perfect. Thanks. Thank you for the.
Really interesting. So yeah.